Let me say something that might feel heavy, but it's necessary. Some of the struggles in your life did not start with you. The anger, the silence, the poverty mindset, the fear of intimacy, the addiction patterns, the self sabotage, they were inherited. Not genetically alone, but behaviorally, environmentally, and emotionally. You did not create the cycle, but you might be the one called to break it. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. Breaking generational curses is lonely. It's lonely being the one who says, this ends with me. What a generational curse really is, a generational curse isn't some mythological cloud floating over your family. It's repeated dysfunction normalized over time. It's when nobody talks about feelings, nobody apologizes. Money is always chaotic. Conflict always turns into yelling. Love always feels conditional. When unhealthy patterns become just how we are, you hear things like, that's just our family. That's how your granddad was. Men in his family don't cry. Women in his family just endure. And before you know it, you're repeating what hurt you. Not because you're evil, but because it's familiar. The first crack in a generational curse is awareness. The moment you say, wait a minute, this isn't healthy. That moment right there, that's power. Because you can't fix what you won't face. Some of you grew up thinking survival was strength, but survival mode is not the same as healing mode. You can survive chaos your whole childhood and still have unlearned chaos as an adult. Breaking cycles requires courage to comfort truths like, my parents did the best they could, and it still damaged me. This is not, or that's not respect. That's not disrespect, that's maturity. You can honor what they survived without recreating what they normalized. And here's the part that gets uncomfortable. When you change, people around you feel it. When you stop reacting the way you used to, it exposes how reactive the environment is. When you start setting boundaries, people who benefit from your lack of boundaries get upset. When you choose therapy, when you choose discipline, when you choose sobriety, when you choose communication, you disrupt comfort. And some family members would rather protect comfort than pursue healing. So they say things like, you've changed. You think you're better than us. You're doing too much. No, you're doing what should have been done a long time ago. And that's hard because sometimes breaking a curse feel like breaking loyalty. But hear me clearly. You're not betraying your family by healing. You are honoring the generations after you. This is where power shifts. You may not be responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for what happens next. At some point, adulthood demands ownership. You can't keep blaming your upbringing for your current behavior if you refuse to do the work to grow. That's tough, but it's freeing because if it's your responsibility, it's also your authority. You get to rewrite, you get to reframe, you get to respond differently, and that's how curses weaken. Let's get practical. Breaking general curses look like learning emotional intelligence when you were never taught it, choosing therapy instead of pretending you're fine, budgeting and building financial literacy when you grew up in chaos, apologizing to your children instead of saying, because I said so. Choosing peace over pride, choosing discipline over impulse, choosing conversation over silence is small daily decisions, not dramatic moments. Cycles are broken in consistent choices that no one applauds. Have you ever felt like you don't quite fit in your own family? Like you question things that others accept? like you want more emotionally, spiritually, financially. That might not be rebellion, that might be assignment. Every family line has a breaker, someone who sees it differently, someone who refuses to pass on what broke them. Maybe that someone is you. And yes, it's heavy because you're building a new blueprint without having seen one. But imagine your children not having to unlearn what you had to unlearn. Imagine your grandchildren inheriting emotional safety instead of trauma. That's legacy, not money, not poverty, peace. Breaking generational curses does not mean living in resentment. If you stay angry forever, you stay tied to the pain. Forgiveness is not pretending it didn't hurt, it's deciding it won't control your future. You can acknowledge, you can acknowledge damage without living defined by it. Healing does not excuse harm, it prevents replication. And that's power. Let me leave you with this. You're not just a product of your past. You are a pivot point into your bloodline. Read that again in your spirit. A pivot point. What was normal before you came became abnormal after you. What was tolerated before you came in with you. It won't be easy. It won't be quick. It won't always be applauded. But years from now, someone in your lineage will breathe easier because you chose to do the work. Breaking generational curses don't start with the whole family. It starts with one person deciding this ends here. Why not you? It ends here. For more encouragement you can count on, follow me at the Daily Uplift Official.